Welcome to Great Talking Entertainment. I'm your host, KJ, and this is the YouTube channel where I review movies and TV shows from my favorite superheroes, including Marvel Comics, DC Comics, and much more. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Great Talking Entertainment official channel. Now let's go, baby. Welcome back, everyone, to the YouTube channel. My name is KJ, and today's video is my spoiler review for episode 8 / season finale of the new Disney Plus series by Marvel Television, Marvel's Wonder Man. Again, if you have not seen this, please pause this and go watch all 8 episodes and then come back and let me know in the comments below what you think about episode 8 and the season finale of Wonder Man. And also, if you guys could you please hit the like button, aka the thumbs up button? That would help my YouTube channel out, and I truly appreciate that, and thank you guys in advance. So again, this is a spoiler review. Y'all been warned. Now let's get into it. This episode starts with a flashback as they continue on, just again showing a young Simon and his dad are having lunch. And like I said in the last spoiler review, like, it was very obvious like his dad was his inspiration. And his dad is, again, in this show, shows a scene of his dad encouraging him to become an actor. You know, this is where the scene where he says, like, I can tell you, I'm not just telling you're a good actor like a dad. He's telling him, like, man, you're a good actor. You got the chops. Like, you need to go run this back, right? Like, and then it goes to present day, and we see Simon just reflecting on life, and he's still upset about Trevor and feels abandoned. He feels betrayal, and he's really sad about the explosion because this gave Agent P the opportunity to arrest him, and they were ready to go. But in the plot twist, Trevor took the fall, even made a video of being the Mandarin. And, before all that, Simon got a phone call from Trevor, and they just talked it out. And he told him, like, everything's going to be okay. Things are going to be great, man. I'm so sorry. Apologize. And then he released the video. And, of course, he's taking the fall. And Agent P doesn't really care because he's not losing his job. There's no cuts. They may give this Department of Damage Control a better budget because they finally caught a superhero. Like, that's the whole point. Like, they need to catch people with superpowers and lock them up. So that's the whole point of it. And Trevor's been arrested, and Simon's not taking it well. He's sad because, in a way, it's like it doesn't feel heroic. The hero does the right thing. They just don't let somebody take the fall or make that ultimate sacrifice for them. It's usually the superhero does that. And so it doesn't really sit well with him. But he doesn't really have time to even fix the situation, as he gets a phone call, or not a phone call, but he gets a visit, and one of the assistants says, hey, the director wants you to come over and to his house and shoot this scene and finish the movie, which they do. And since they don't have Trevor there, we see Wonder Man finally getting in his suit, which looks really awesome. And they're continue shooting this movie, and this helps the scene that they're trying to shoot, where you see like a tennis ball on a stick, which that's a real thing, like in movies and shows. And he's giving the speech, reading his lines or saying his lines the right way, because in the Wonder Man movie, he's been betrayed by his friend, and it worked, and everybody's just in shock because they're witnessing the magic, and it looks good, it sounds great. And then, again, he does it right, and then we get a time jump, and this is a successful movie. He's on the red carpet, people love it. He got good reviews, their version of like a Rotten Tomato type thing. Like, the movie's awesome. People love it. They want him, and got so many opportunities. So another year time jump, and we meet this security guard named Chuck who works at the Department of Damage Control, right? And Simon is there to do the thing where he just hangs out with this guy named Chuck and his family because he's shooting a quote unquote a movie. He could not tell him, but was going to pay him very well to, live at his house, create a friendship, bond and understand who he is. And it looked really good. This was a huge turn. Like, I didn't expect nothing like this story, but Chuck and his family was an awesome story. I like how they bonded. I like how he learned about this guy, and he got Simon in, and he was Alfonso, right? And it kind of reminds me of Alfonso from, that's the actor who played Carlton from French Prince of Bel Air, which I don't know if that was why he named him that. And Chuck, gives him the walk around, and it was really good. Like, I what I liked about it too is you didn't know the plot twist, which the whole thing was Simon was trying to break out Trevor. But before that, we see Chuck's family, we see the medical struggles, and we get to learn. And I think this to me was like a superhero now. Like, this is Simon Williams being Wonder Man as a superhero, because there's a guy who's just trying to put food on the table and pay bills for his family and stuff. And it's just him and his wife, hardworking family with a son and a daughter. This Chuck guy has no evil intentions. This is just a job to him. Like, and he's just trying to live a regular life. And my favorite scene is when when Chuck's working on a truck and Simon's just there. They're just talking and hanging out, drinking a couple brewskis. And I just liked it. I liked the idea. They even hung out, had karaoke night, as one of the other employees was like, "Who's this guy?" And he's like, "Oh, don't I recognize you from something?" And they for real must have went to a karaoke bar, and he sang I forgot what song he sang, but he sang a song. And the other employee was like, "Oh, yeah, I remember," type thing. And so I like that, but the story of Chuck was awesome. But this to me, this changes his motives, like Simon Williams' motive. Maybe this is the key point of him being a superhero. Like Captain America, Thor, the Hulk, Spider-Man, Daredevil, whoever, right? Like, this is the kind of idea of this scene what I interpreted out of this, but also shows, like, he cares. Like, and maybe they can kind of relate, but maybe Chuck, in a deeper way, too. Maybe Chuck reminds Simon his father. Maybe Chuck and Simon's dad had that same kindness and father-like figure, like, in a way, because they bonded, obviously, for acting purpose, right? And I like that, but as again, when they get in there, we learn that so far Simon learns how to use his power to break the security cameras without actually physically touching it. And he finds Trevor, and he gets Simon out, or Simon gets Trevor out, and it was really cool. I think, if I remember right, he uses energy power and boosted. Like they were going to fly through the roof or either go down. But it was really cool. But that's how this episode ended. And Agent P realized that because they drove by him on a goat cart, and they realized like, oh shit, he's actually here, and he got him out. And I thought that was really cool. Like this is now the way they ended it. And what I think would be a creative way is imagine if season 1 of Wonder Man, episodes 1 through 8 for this season, was his origin story of becoming an actor to a big movie star, and that was his journey, right? Imagine if they did another season, and this is season 2 would be his journey of becoming a superhero. If you remember, I think his dad, in a way, said, I can't remember, but I think his dad said, you're meant to play that role. And if you remember, the director said, yeah, you were meant to play Wonder Man. Maybe not just play Wonder Man, but this is, I think, season 2, if they choose to do it, this is Simon Williams becoming, living the life of Wonder Man. It's more than just him playing a movie. Now he really is the thing, the actual Wonder Man of the MCU. And I think that's the way they're probably going to go and that is a big if they do a season 2. But that's what I got out of this. Again, I liked it. Like, he had his Hollywood success. He had the fame. He had the red carpet. His brother was proud of him. His mom's, as usual, proud of him. He did this, right? And I can just imagine now, like, maybe Simon Williams again. His next story is him just being Wonder Man now, 24 hours, 7 days a week. He's not just pretending, he's about that life, which is the superhero life. And this is how they could set up the West Coast Avengers, which I think would be a great idea. I really hope so. I think it would make sense and stuff. But episode 8, definitely, the 3 things I like about this was, 1, they showed what a red carpet experience is like. 2, they showed like him having the success, like him like finishing his story. Like he achieved a goal, a life goal, right? Like all those years, all those times, just trying to get that big break in Hollywood. And he finally got it. Like with the Doorman, it went to his head and he had a downfall. But with Wonder Man, he did everything he could to hide his superpower. Simon Williams, who I'm talking about, he did everything to hide his power, and Trevor took the fall, so nobody knew it. But at the end of this, he made it. He achieved it, and that was what I loved about this. This was like a Hollywood success story. That he did it. He achieved one of his goals. And now I think in a way, him saving Trevor, breaking him out of a prison for superhero powers, now he could start his next story, his next journey in life in the MCU as a superhero life. Now, he's not just playing it, and again, like I said, he's being Wonder Man. And that's what I like about that. I really... And the last thing I can just say about this is just, this was a great show. It's different. It's so different. Like I always said, like, I think this is the way they try to do this with the She-Hulk series. but I think they didn't have. But I think they learned from the mistakes they probably felt like they made, and they learned from this. And obviously, different director, different producer of a show, but I think Kevin Feige was like, okay, let me check this out. Let's make sure we're on the right path. Let's make sure this fits the MCU in the way where it needed to be. And again, I like the She-Hulk series, but I'm using this as an example because of the reason of the negativity of She-Hulk received. But I think the idea of it is, how do you do this? How do you introduce it's the challenge is, how do you introduce a character that's not so popular, right? Like, they took a chance with her, right? Because if you know, like, a She-Hulk comic book, they obviously they had to nerf her down and unsexualize her in a way where it's, somewhat age appropriate for children to watch, of course. But same thing with Wonder Man. Obviously, yes, let's talk about it. The thing is, in early comics, his ethnic was a white man, Caucasian. But in comic books, they changed his ethnic to a African American, and that's fine. And I know his family's from a different country. I know that, but I'm saying in comic books they changed it, his ethnic again, and that's a challenge to do that in live action. But I think they learn how to do a better way where people can be satisfied with it, which is just a challenge. But I think, to me, this is so far until we get to, like, we'll see how season 2 of Daredevil Born Again. But as right now at the year 2026, this is the best Marvel Disney Plus series for this year so far. There's other things coming out, of course, but this one's the better one as of right now. But again, in March, when season 2 of Daredevil Born Again, we'll see. And you know what? And also, too, about this show is you can tell there, and if you really pay attention to all the episodes, there are certain episodes that were kind of obvious, but they must have cut out a lot. Episode 8 is pretty obvious just because of the they transferred from, we're seeing Simon Williams in the red carpet having a successful movie, and then it just switched to a whole complete 180 of a different story, right? So they must have cut something out that would have helped it make sense. It might have made the episode a little bit longer, but whatever it was, you can tell there was like cut and paste type situations in this show, but they did it better of covering up. I just only knew about it because other people had posted about it, and I went and go check to see what they were talking about, just rewatching these episodes. And I see what they're saying, I get the idea, but it's stuff like, but they did it better of smoothing those out. But yes, there is a hint, a sense, I should say, a sense of there was a lot of stuff cut out. But other than that, episode 8, 1 out of 10, I gotta give it an 8. Really good ending, cliffhanger, really good that's the best cliffhanger, that for a superhero series. And as far as how I feel about season 1, I gotta give it an 8. Really good. I love it. It was just this is their best series so far of 2026, guys. And I enjoyed it. And I love the chemistry between, again, I've been saying it on and on, Simon and Trevor have a really good chemistry of two characters I would never expect to see on a live action series like that, let alone like that. But I'm in for it, and I'm rooting for these characters to be the new fan favorite. I hope they are. So really good, and I enjoy it. So that's my spoiler review, y'all. Thank you so much. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Great Talking Entertainment Official channel. Subscribe, hit that notification button so you guys be updated with all my latest content. Thank you guys, and peace out.